Boeing, of course, has been in the news for all the wrong reasons lately, all the technical difficulties with its planes, a door flying off while it was in flight. Not the way you want to be highlighted in the news. Still, Boeing stock has made for a reasonably good investment over the decades, and in this video, I'm going to highlight where I think Boeing stock price could be 2 years from now in 2025. So let's get into the details and let's make this stock price prediction for Boeing.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So one of the first things I'm going to need to make this stock price prediction is Boeing's current share price. And as of this recording, Boeing stock is trading at a $209.20 per share. Over the last 3 months, it's fluctuated up first in December, and then after the latest developments, the stock price has come back down from over $250 per share down to $200 per share. That has undoubtedly created some interest from investors looking to see if this is a buying opportunity as Boeing stock has fallen. Now, another metric I'm going to need to make this stock price prediction is Boeing's price to free cash flow. As of this recording, it's trading at a price to free cash flow of 28.58. Now, in accordance with that, I need Boeing's free cash flow forecast for the year 2025. That number is here, $15.64. You can see very solid free cash flow growth expected from Boeing from 2023, $5.61 up to $9.38, and then $15.64 expected in 2025. Now, if we were to bring together the $15.64 stock free cash flow expectation for 2025 and combine it with the price to free cash flow valuation 28.58, we can see the stock price, let me fix that on the fly, could end up at $446 per share as of the end of 2025. However, that's not the only scenario that could happen. Let's look at some other scenarios. If the price to free cash flow were to fall to 24, Boeing stock price could fall to 375. At 22, the stock price could fall to 344. At 20, the stock price could go down to 312.80. Now, all of those stock price predictions would be above the current price of $209 per share. So what that tells me is if Boeing does indeed deliver this free cash flow for 2025, then its stock price is likely to go higher, to go much higher, if indeed this free cash flow forecast is accurate. Now, there's a lot of factors that play into Boeing's free cash flow, but none of that is customer demand. Let me show you why. Boeing, in its fourth quarter of 2023, delivered 157 commercial airplanes and got 611 net orders. It got 4 times more orders than it delivered. For the full year 2025, it delivered 528 planes and recorded 1,576 net orders, more than or roughly 3 times as many orders as planes it made. The company has a strong backlog. It keeps getting more orders than it has capacity to fulfill. That's why there's a massive backlog. $520 billion in backlog for Boeing as of the latest update, including over 5,600 commercial airplanes. And if you look at that, it delivered 500 in the year in 2023. It has orders of 5,600. That means it's going to take roughly 10 years for Boeing to fulfill all of those orders. 10 years wait list. Some of these newer customers that are ordering planes now, they're not expecting to get them until after 2030. And that's why when all this bad news comes out and people start to freak out about Boeing stock, I say unless it's a really, really dangerous situation, customers are not going to cancel their orders for Boeing planes because they don't want to risk moving to the back of the line. The line is so long that they don't want to risk moving to the back of the line. They trust that when there's an issue, Boeing will get their boots on the ground and start working on it and fixing whatever issue it is that arises with the planes. Now, lately there's been a few instances of issues coming out about Boeing's planes. Thankfully, they are fixing it, and thankfully, with the latest issue, nobody was hurt and they were able to land the plane without issue. Still, it was a scary situation to be sure, but this total backlog means that investors don't have to worry about customer demand for Boeing. What they need to be concerned with Boeing is execution. Building these planes effectively, efficiently, safely, and doing so at a low cost. Doing so while getting better and better and better at making these planes, so that with each incremental year, they get better at building and better at doing this at scale and generating greater profit. So let's take a look at the price forecast again. Price to free cash flow of 28.58 with the earnings per share of 15.64 and a stock price of 446. I'm going to say this scenario is less likely. I don't think this scenario is very likely here, for the simple case that would mean the stock price would more than double in that time. And I don't think the price to free cash flow will remain at 28.58 when the company's free cash flow soars as high as it's expected to. I think investors will expect a mean reversion of free cash flow, and therefore their willingness to pay a high valuation on these peak free cash flows will not be as enthusiastic. So I think a price to free cash flow closer to the range of between 20 and 24 is more likely. Something between 20 and 22 would be most likely for me in this scenario. So if I was to predict where I think Boeing stock price could be 2 years from now, I would say in the range of $300 to $310 per share. Now, that would still be a very nice increase from the current share price of $209 per share. And there's some risk associated with that assumption, right? There's a lot of risk associated with that assumption that assumes Boeing gets its issues straight with the safety, with the regulations, with the FAA, and it's able to get its planes back in production, back being delivered, and there is no greater issue coming out of these latest developments. I think once that happens, the risk for the stock will decrease, and there will be an initial bump of the stock price following assurances that it's back to normal for Boeing, back to being producing and delivering at its normal rate of production and delivery. That would create an initial lift to the stock price back up closer to 250 per share, and then from there it'll march higher towards that $300 share price target that I'm predicting by the end of 2025. Still, take this estimate and forecast with a grain of salt, because as you saw, I used a lot of estimates, I used a lot of assumptions, many of which could go higher, could go lower, and there's a lot of estimates, and those are inherently imprecise. So take it with a grain of salt. It's just what I think it could be, what I think might happen by the end of 2025 for Boeing shareholders. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time and a lot of other videos you could be watching. So I truly appreciate that you chose to watch this one. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe or the like button. They'll both help me make more videos just like this one. Thank you again.